Giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakakwadash. Send double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopeful elect. So I wanted to speak a little bit on that. There's actually certain topics that if you speak on, especially on YouTube, and you only really know once you get involved with teaching the word, because at the end of the day, it all goes back to the famine of the word. The society is against this word being taught. There are certain topics that if you actually can't even, there's certain topics you can't speak on, and there are certain topics where if you do speak on it, the algorithm of YouTube will actually work against you. There are certain things, certain topics that are like blacklisted. You can't speak about things like that. Now, when originally people started talking about that, like started talking about certain topics that you can't talk about or is blacklisted, at one point they were considered, like conspiracy theorists, stuff like that. But then over time, it was actually being revealed. And that's basically where we're at now. Now, on the topic of being single, believe it or not, is actually considered one of those topics where if you speak too much on it, the system will work against you. And I really mean like the algorithm of YouTube. And there's even, you could say, little companies that work behind the scenes to work to silence, right, or demonetize, whatever you want to say, anybody who's speaking that message. And I'm gonna show you the proof. So this all started because I believe it's because I haven't watched it yet, but I believe it's because Elder Apostle Ball did a lesson, and it was titled "Don't Live with a Woman," and I believe it was titled "You Should Watch This Video." I haven't got to it yet, but one of the elders actually shared this video of this Jake here, right? He did a video titled "You Should Think Twice About Living with a Woman." So I connected dots. I said, okay, that must be from Elder Apostle Bar, which I didn't get to watch yet, but I did watch his video. It was only like 10 minutes, and it was a good video. So they recommended this video, right? And the title caught my attention. As he said, "Men are playing it smart and staying single, and society hates it." Right. So, I already knew what he was going to talk about. I didn't have to watch it yet, but I did watch it. Good video. And it actually is true, and I can speak according to my experience, and I can show you proof, okay? But about a year or so ago, whenever I just started to do a little in-depth of why the scriptures talk about being a eunuch, right? One who voluntarily abstains from marriage. And I want to just dive a little bit into that because, hey, it's in the scriptures, so let's talk about it. So I think I did maybe like 3 parts, but what I noticed was when I wanted to do a follow-up, I was trying to title it the same and just say part 2, but I didn't remember when I did it, so I had just kind of was trying to search for it, and I was typing it in, and I noticed that I couldn't find the video. So I had to manually, go on my channel, scroll all the way up, figure out when I did it, and then copy it word from word. But at that point, I decided to type in word for word in the search bar. Doesn't come up. I say, interesting. The only other time it does that is when I talk about like certain things like the moon landing. If you do a lesson on the moon landing being fake, it'll get silenced. It'll get like blacklisted, whereas it'll be up on YouTube, but you can't search it, right? I even searched in my search bar, because you can go to your channel and search in your search bar word for word on that topic of the moon landing or whatever, copy paste it, it won't come up. The only way to watch it is if the link was shared or you go physically find it. So that right there was my eye opener. I said, oh, I see what they're doing. They're blacklisting certain topics without taking it down. And then when I did the part 3, I think I did like part 3, or I expounded a little bit more upon the whole, why the scriptures, the benefits of being a eunuch and all that other stuff. Same thing happened. I couldn't find it. I had to go look, even though I searched it word for word, it won't come up. So that right there was my proof for me. I said, oh, I see what they're doing. The system, the algorithm works against this message. It's a message that they don't want to be brought forth because it's beneficial to men. And that is being alone, right? So his title, and he talked about in this video, basically says, you going the society doesn't like it when you don't get involved with women or marriage, things like that. And he's telling the truth, right? Speak about all the time about how the society, first of all, is based upon debt, and everything in this world is simply a snare, especially for the men. Everything is a snare. Okay. And being as unplugged from the system as you possibly can be is the best way to go. And if you can, in your life, financially, as well. And the system doesn't like that. So what does the system do? This wicked world we live in put snares in place to prevent you from succeeding in that goal, right? That's why it's really hard to do so. First I want to read, this is, I just caught my mind. I want to go to it. But here's the proof, right, that Satan runs this world. When Yahushua was tempted of the devil, being, you can say, in his most vulnerable state, because he just fasted 40 days, 40 nights, he told Yahushua, as in Matthew chapter 4, then when, I was about to say Joshua, then when Yahushua led up of the spirit in the wilderness to be tempted of the devil, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of the Most High, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, It is written, Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out the mouth of Yahweh. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on the pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, If thou be the Son of the Most High, cast thyself down, for it is written, He shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou shalt dash thy foot against a stone. And Yahushua said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy power. And again the devil taketh him up into an exceedingly high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And America is included in that kingdom. It says, And said unto him, All these will I give unto thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Yahushua to him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord Yahweh, thy power, and him only thou shalt serve. So what do you learn from that? Is that Satan actually controls all these kingdoms. If Yahushua and the kingdom of Israel isn't established on earth, Satan is running it. Why? Because they're going to tread down the holy city. The people are going to be, the Israelites are going to be oppressed, right? He's talking about this kingdom as well. This kingdom is ran by Satan. It's ran by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, which that includes the small hats, because they like to separate themselves. Amalek, the Edomites. This society is owned by them. This society is owned by Satan. That's why the higher you want to succeed in the society, you met with gatekeepers, and there are certain rituals and things you have to do if you want to advance, if you want to go all out in certain things, especially in the entertainment world. Why? Because they're the gatekeepers. Satan owns the society. You're not going to find somebody on this earth who truly is highly respected, and he only speaks the truth, and he's wealthy and famous at the same time, and the society accepts him, the society welcomes him. You're not going to find it, right? I like to look at like Muhammad Ali. You look at that time, right? Even though he was speaking his mind all the time, they loved him. They loved him. They loved him, the fact, for the one, he's still an Israelite. But at the end of the day, he was still speaking Islam. He wasn't speaking the truth. He wasn't speaking Yahweh Shem Yahushua. He wasn't teaching Israel. If he was teaching Israel, he wouldn't have got those interviews and stuff like that. Eventually, they go, oh, no, we can't talk to this guy. But I digress. The point is, Satan runs this world, right? So, here, if you go to Ephesians 6, it says, Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So our battle isn't just of the flesh. It's not of the flesh. We're talking principalities, powers, and darkness of this world. That's what we're talking about here. And that's why there's certain things you can't talk about, especially on YouTube. And we know this. Why do you think most brothers speak in code acronyms? Because we see the squeeze being brought down. I did a few weeks ago. I did a testimony video. It was foolish of me. I wasn't even thinking, but I was just so happy through the Spirit to try to help get the information out for the believers. But I did a testimony video of my you could say my experience with using a natural remedy to treat my mother's dog of her TUMOUR. I did. That's all it was, a quick testimony. And they removed the video so fast and gave me a strike and said it is a dangerous information. I was too foolish to even think, like, obviously there's certain things they won't let you get out there. And when you talk about natural remedies, especially for certain diseases where they make billions and billions of dollars on, like CAN, right? CER. You best believe they're gonna shut that down. And I just slipped my mind, and I was mad. I really at myself, and I was mad. I was like, man, you can't talk about nothing nowadays. But that's just proof that they already did the research and they already know were you not allowed to speak on this matter. See? So a few months ago, there's a YouTube channel out there, Legion of Men, right? You can call him one of the red pill channels. He actually showed proof, right, that what came out was that there are the Department of Health, Homeland Security actually has red pill channels listed, and they actually work against them, right? So look, this is what he said. This was his community. He said, love being targeted by the Department of Homeland Security and given a male supremacy score with acute asterisk. I've known early since a few months the channel was created that they have been heavily suppressing its reach and still do this day. And yes, and see, you will only know that if you experience it yourself. Otherwise, people just gonna be like, oh, you sound crazy. But no, it's the truth. We who teach this word, we know what it's like to be oppressed, to not speak in code. We can feel an outside force working against us. And all we're doing is preaching the truth. He goes on to say, thank you to everyone who shares and tunes in. So this is a Twitter that was put up by some chick named BX. Now it says, a DHS, which is Department of Homeland Security, sponsored report from March confirms that large manosphere creators were targeted by state-funded censorship campaigns. And the manosphere, you could basically say like the red pill, right? Their whole goal, as you might say, is to educate men on the cunningness of women and how to move and operate and things like that. And part of the message, at least some of them should teach, is that one, don't get legally married, speak against that. And especially if you speak on being alone, right? That's another thing that's targeted. And I know that for sure. Okay. You talk about the benefits of a eunuch or whatever the case is, that's a silence campaign on that. And I know it. They don't want that getting out. And like I said, it all just boils down to the truth, the Bible. Pretty soon we ain't gonna be able to say or teach nothing. But yes, even talking about a man being single, the society does hate that, and they work against that, both online and offline. Right? So here's what she said. It said, I previously broke a story about a project called Diverting Hate, which was founded by the Department of Homeland Security Counterterrorism Grant. So they grant these people to work against and to censor certain channels. Like their goal is not to take it down because it'll be too obvious, but instead just censor it, censor the information, suppress the information. And we're gonna go into it, right? So, okay. She says diverting hate used something called the male supremacy scale to give each of these creators an extremism score. The scoring system is a product of PERI, Pearl, which you can read more about in the quoted tweet. The goal of the DH campaign was to suppress the growth of targeted creators. DH notes that they were unable to run the campaign on a few of their planned targets due to YouTube demonetization. Later in the report, they claimed that demonetization doesn't slow the growth of the large channels. Right? So here are the channels. Here's the list, the highest ranked. So they have a channel called Sandman, which I saw his channel before. As you see, they got Legion of Men there. They got him there. They even got Fresh and Fit there. They even got Just Pearly Things, which, I don't listen to her. I don't listen to any woman that speaks on quote unquote red pill and trying to help. I don't do that. But these channels, right? If they're speaking about relationships and they're speaking like, no, you men, you need to step up the game. Don't be dealing with these women. Focus on this, focus on that. You see how they react to you, right? And they call it hate. So, like you've probably seen Brothers of the Elders did video in the past titled, Red Pill is under attack. Yeah, it is, because you're speaking against the system. You're speaking against the power. Yeah, so that's the proof right there. When I saw that, I said, see, that's the proof. I said, because when I just did, those lessons regarding, all I titled was let's consider the walk of a eunuch, and let's look at the benefits. Let's see what the scriptures say. Bing, bam, boom, bam, censored. The videos will remain, but it's censored because you can't look it up. I type it in word for word in the search tab, it won't come up. That's an act of blacklisting certain topics, and it's probably because I used the word eunuch, and that's probably why. In fact, the fact that I said it now will probably pick up on the algorithm, and this video would also be the same. But yeah, that's the truth, and that's eye-opening. And only if you experience it or walk it, then you can see it, like the brother in that video is explaining. If you walk like a single man, you'll see that the society doesn't like it. And true, that's true. Because it's all about snares and traps. And at the end of the day, they want you involved with a wife or a woman marriage, because in the end, it can benefit them. More than likely, it will. Because if you're legally married, they want you at least legally married, or they want you to be living with a woman or have a baby by a woman, because that can lead to what? Possibility of, because the system society's out of order, that can lead to child support, which is money. That could lead to divorce, which is money. Things to keep a man trapped and ensnared all his days. That's what it's all about, right? That's what people trying to figure out. Why is it so hard to be free? I'm trying to be free here. Well, because the society wants you to be ensnared, especially as a man, right? They want you in some way ensnared. And as long as you at least deal with a woman, then there is a chance that there's another avenue that Satan can get to you. That's just a fact. That's just a fact, right? Proverbs 16. These are really the only two scriptures I thought of, unless the Spirit hit me with more. But verse 32, it says, he that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city. So it's talking about self-control. Indeed, slow to anger is a righteous, ruly, kingly trait to have. That's how the Most High operates. And you're better than the mighty, right? And it says, he that can rule his spirit than he that taketh the city. And one of the major battles within yourself, if you can rule, that's a huge accomplishment, is your urges, your sexual urges. If you can control it, That's one part of the flesh that you have conquered. If you're led by it, you know what's going to happen. You're going to end up in some type of trap or whatever the case is. It can lead to destruction. You're led by the flesh. As soon as the urge come in, bam, you want to fulfill it. You do that each and every single time without discipline, without discretion. It can lead you to some trouble, some hell. So the balance is discipline in life, in all things, right? Especially food. You gotta have discipline there. As much as we like to eat, you love to eat sweets as much as your tongue will never tire of sweets. It's your discipline to say, all right, that's enough. No, I can't eat that. I already had enough. Okay, yeah, I can indulge in a little bit. Boom, bam, boom. It's all about discipline, right? So if you can rule your spirit, and especially those urges, sexual urges, in that aspect, that's a huge accomplishment as a man. And every man eventually strives for that, right? You are better than one that can take a whole city. Why? Because you have self-control. And a man who has self-control in a society is a problem. And only if you see it, if you're devoted, say, hey, I'm good. Watch how the world comes against you, because it's a natural reaction. Even your family, especially your women in your family, are going to say that. Even men are going to say the same thing, right? You know, there's something must be wrong with you, you know, etc. But the fact is, what eye opened to me was, I said, okay, the system don't like it. And I know why. It's because, like I said, a snare. Everything's a damn trap. And even though you may know you're the Israelite and you may have the truth or whatever, you may not even have credit card debt. You may not have none. At the end of the day, they want you. They want to have as many avenues as possible to get to you. And as long as you have a wife or a woman, then that's a chance that they have an avenue to you. Now there's still a chance. Just like credit cards, like I always explain. Why do you think they have credit cards? Why do you think they send you letters in the mail? Here, take this money, take this money. Do they want to help you? No. They want, because the goal and hope is that eventually you fall behind. And they're okay with, if they have 100 people, 90 of them are doing a responsible thing. They're okay with that because they know at least 10 possibly will fall behind or end up paying them more money, which is what they want. And you can, that's why scripture says, use the world, not abusing it. So you have to be smart, okay? Because in this life, it's damn near impossible to live without one if you can, right? But if you got a family and kids and stuff, you're even punished for not having one. Oh, I know, because I don't have one. But you try to rent a car and all this other stuff, hotel, they're going to punish you for it to incentivize you to get one. And sure, you could be responsible and all that, but the fact remains is they at least want it in your pocket. Why? Because then there's a chance that you could splurge, and there's a chance that they could make some money off you being irresponsible. That's why they give it to you. They ain't giving it to you because they want to help you. It's your job to have the discipline to use it wisely. That's the point. And it's the same with women. They don't care how much you know, whatever. At the end of the day, as long as you have a woman, they have a way to get to you. And and you might say, well, I won't get legally married then. Well, guess what? They have those common law marriages, so you got to look out for that too. Why is that? Because that's their way to try to circumvent you, trying to circumvent them and putting you in a snare. Because it's all about their benefit any goddamn way. Let me read this. Isaiah 10. Woe unto him that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which they have prescribed. Right? So woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. A legally marriage, that's an unrighteous decree. That's not in the scriptures. They tell you on the document itself that it has nothing to do with the Most High. It's simply you, her, and the court. You making the court the overseer. It's an unrighteous decree because that's why it's best benefit for them. That's why if you got to get a license just to get married, and you have to get permission to get divorced. You have to file for divorce. And they're going to say, okay, what's best for us? Child support is a money scheme. It's so that they can get paid. It's not about the child. Sure, and let's say they got 1,000 cases. If 100 of them may reward the man in some way, the other 900 is funding their pockets. And they got a man on the hook. Somebody's on the hook. That's what they want. Right? That's why, and it's no surprise, The Israelite groups that push legal marriage have a 501c3, because a 501c3 is what? Of the state. So guess what? You're going to speak according to what benefits them. That's why you're not going to hear those Israelite groups like IUIC do a lesson on being single. Lord, all right, brothers, let's talk about not having a woman. Let's talk about that. Let's just talk about if you can, touch on that. They're not going to do that because it's against the state. You see, it's against the powers that be. Yes, this stuff is real. There's certain things you cannot talk about, and if you do talk about, the system will work against you because they don't want you to be free. And actually being a man single is another one. And that's all I wanted to highlight. That topic in itself, and the manosphere, red pill, and all that, is actually an enemy to the powers that be, because you're teaching, and that's another thing, is even showed in the picture, because you're teaching contrary to what the system wants. Even in the picture, you can kind of see, but at the bottom here it says, they even have it written out that said, we aim to target the manosphere of these people by surfacing positive male influence. So they work to try to drown out these people, these channels, by those who are teaching marriage, basically. Get out there, date, find a woman. Here's what you do, pay for dates, all this other stuff. Because it's all a goddamn business, man. It's a business. So you're going to have simp channels, simps, those who teach. And you got to remember, them dating coaches, you got to remember, they're in it to get paid too. You're not going to hear a dating coach teach you, all right, brothers, you know what you can do if you could. Not deal with a woman if that's possible. They're not going to do that because they have a product to sell you. They need you to come back. So at the end of the day, they need you involved with women. They need you out there and involved. And as long as you're teaching that, then they will get supported. They're going to get monetized, etc. But if you teach flat out, look, don't deal with no marriage, right? Don't live with no woman because of this, that. You trying to circumvent the system's snares, they're going to try to come against you, man. Just like if we talk about, pretty soon we can't even talk about the mark of the beast. You know what I'm saying? The microchip, pretty soon we know we ain't going to be able to talk about that. We're going to have to speak in code on this, speak in code on that. Oh yeah, very soon. Why? Because the powers that be. And I want to end it on that. Yeah, man, this world is wicked. 1 John 5:19, and we know that we are of Yahweh, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. So that's shalom.